Hello and welcome back to my Physical Science online video lecture supplement series. Today's video is a quick mailbag video, actually from one of our alums. I'll read the email roughly. It just says basically, "Good afternoon, Dr. Sanders," and then introduces herself and says she took my online course back in 2018, so it's been a couple years, and says she's at home doing homeschooling, and they were doing some math question, and they got a problem, and they both looked at it and kind of stumbled on it, and are basically at a loss for how to do it, and they reached out to a lot of people, including apparently the fellow's teacher, still at a loss. And so they thought of me, which is very kind of them. I'm honored that you all thought of me. They reached out to me and asked, how do we solve the math problem, basically? So let's pull up the math problem that I've been sent, and let's make it a little bigger so we can read it. So it's just kind of a screenshot. Hopefully I'm not giving away any information here, looks like. It just shows this nice circle, and basically looks like it's been divided into angles, both in degrees and in radians, with some interesting radian approximations written in as well. And then it says that we want to graph the point having the polar coordinate 2, negative 800. So this is a neat problem. Fun little trig problem, looks like. So basically, to do this problem, we have to know what is it that the polar coordinates are trying to tell you. So polar coordinates usually come in the form, of r comma theta. All right, so this one right here, it's written, and they actually are using regular parentheses. I like to use the curly brackets. Don't worry about the difference between them. It's just an organization thing for me. But the coordinate, as I read it, says 2, negative 800 degrees. Okay, so 2 would be r. This is basically saying r equals 2, and then theta equals negative 800. All right, so we're looking for this value of r, this value of theta. Now r is what we sometimes call the magnitude. Okay, so this is basically how far. Theta is what's often called the direction. So which way? Okay, so now pulling up this picture again, I don't know if there's some more information that I'm not seeing from the screenshot, but I'm going to assume, I have to make an assumption here, unfortunately. I'm going to assume that each one of these circles represents a magnitude of 1 unit. Because it's not specified, and that seems like a reasonable assumption. So assuming that each one of these circles represents 1 unit, r equals 2 means basically it's got to be somewhere on this second circle from the center. Okay, so that's how far away from the center you're going, 2 circles away. The other part is the negative 800 degrees. So what is that negative 800 degrees thing doing? Well, you'll notice that for a standard unit circle, or for a standard circle like this, the angles are increasing as you go counterclockwise around the circle, with this being basically 0 degrees, this being 90 degrees, this one being 180 degrees, and this being 270 degrees. Okay, so if you go all the way around your circle one time, you get back to 0, this becomes 360 degrees. Okay, and this one is 90 degrees and you've gone around once, so add another 360, that's 450 degrees. This one right here, add another 360, you have your 540 degrees. This one right here, your 630 degrees. And then your second time around, this one becomes 720. This one right here becomes etc. Just keep adding another 360 each time you go around. So this one right here is 810 degrees. And I'm not going to continue to fill out the circle the entire way because you see that this guy right here is only needing us to go 800 degrees worth. Right? So basically that's equivalent to going around the circle twice for 720 degrees and then doing an additional 80 degrees. Okay, we're almost done. We almost have our answer. The problem is we got this little negative sign in here. What is this negative sign trying to tell us? Well, you'll recall that I said we were going counterclockwise around the circle to get these numbers. This negative sign basically means go clockwise around the circle instead. Alright, so I've just labeled this thing in positive angles. If you want it in negative angles, you go around this way. And so here's 0 again. This becomes negative 90. This becomes negative 180. This one becomes negative 270. This becomes negative 360 and negative 720. This one you just get to add the negative signs to it. And this one as well actually, but these two are sort of reversed. So this one will have the negative 90, it'll have negative 450, it'll have negative 810 degrees. So if you're going negative 800 degrees, here was negative 720, here is negative 810. We're basically looking for 10 degrees off from this direction. Now if we pull back open that picture again, let's see if I can zoom in convincingly. It's always a risk, right? So the reason why I wanted to zoom in is I kind of noticed this detail when I started making this video. You've got these little increments along the circle. And I haven't counted them, but I would guess if we were to count them, that you'd find there's 15 between here and here, and another 15 and another 15. In other words, each one of these blue lines represents 15 degrees or 15 tick marks on the purple circle. So these tick marks, I'm guessing, are 1 degree each. And let's go ahead and count them. So here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's a little trickier to do with the mouse than it looks, but there are in fact 15. So these are 1 degree increments. Okay, so we just stated that this one right here, which is labeled 270, also corresponds to negative 810. We need negative 800, so we count 10 tick marks backwards on this, and that gives us the direction. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, see if I can, I don't know if this program is going to allow me to do what I'm about to try to do. Yep, perfect. Okay, what we need to do here is draw for ourselves a straight line which exists somewhere on this control panel. Hold on a sec. Alright, so it's actually under this guy. And so what we do is we put a line here and we turn this guy off. We put a line here, and what we want to do is we want to find where 10 degrees is. So this would be 15, 14, 13, 11, 10 degrees off. All right, so I've just drawn a line that goes through the negative 800 negative 810 degrees is what this line is representing. And we already established this is 1, this is 2, so the 2 location would be here. So where this line and this circle cross, that is your point 2 comma negative 800. Okay, so again, what you need to remember about these coordinates, when they're in polar coordinates, you're being given a magnitude, you're being given a direction. This is basically count circles on a scale like this. In reality, like if you didn't want to just be limited to a circle, this would be sort of measure distance. Okay, and this is direction, so count degrees. And what you have to remember about this is positive means counter clockwise, and negative means clockwise. Okay, so I think that's a wrap for this one. I'm not familiar necessarily with this homework system. I'm assuming they'll probably give you a few more to work out for practice. But there you go, and hopefully this helps you with all of the remaining questions of this type. So thanks for reaching out, and good luck.